when we do our techniques, when we perform these techniques, we have to keep in mind that we want to break their balance. And when we break their balance, may I use your arm? We have to break their balance in 3 ways. Okay? Physically, I've got to take his balance. All right? So with this first one, he's moving, I'm moving with him, and I'm taking his balance this way. Physically. Mentally, I have to take his balance as well. Mentally, I'm going to take his balance by disrupting his plan. Oh, what I had envisioned isn't working out for me. So he's got to regroup. He's got to come back in here in his head and think, okay, well now I'm going to do this. Okay? When they're thinking about themselves, they're not thinking about you. When they're physically off balance, they're fighting gravity. If you're fighting gravity, you can't be fighting me. You know what I mean? So they can't be fighting you. If they're falling, they can't fight you. They're fighting to stay up at this point. Okay? Mentally, they're thinking about themselves, not thinking about you. The way that I'm going to affect him emotionally is to take away his will to fight. Okay? Understand? Make it so they just don't even want to be here. This is not a good situation. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay? So how I'm going to do that? I'm going to start striking. Okay? I'm going to hurt him so bad that he's just think, oh, I made a big mistake. I do not want to be here at all. Take his will away from me. So I've affected him physically. He's fighting gravity, not me. Mentally, he's in his head thinking about himself and not me. And then emotionally, he does not want to be here anymore. Okay? So we want to be able to get him on those 3 levels. So within these techniques, we have to find opportunity to hit 3 timings: before, during, and after. Okay? He goes to grab me. I can kick him before I apply my wrist lock. Understand? I can strike him before that. He goes to grab me. I can strike him as I'm applying my wrist lock. Or I can strike him after I apply my wrist lock. Okay? Or before, during, and after. Okay? You can do all 3. Okay? Or a combination thereof. Understand? So grab your training partner and see about throwing strikes in. What kind of strikes could I throw? He's punching. Boom! Maybe I hit him. Punch him as I'm doing it. Okay? Maybe as he comes here, use that elbow to the wrist as I'm executing it. Okay? Using his body against it. All right? Maybe I'm doing the technique and slamming their head into a table while I'm doing the technique. Okay? Using the foreign objects. All right? So just try to be creative and see what you can come up with. Okay, so let's look back through this series and look at some of these techniques and how they might break down, and then look at how we could flow and what some of our options might be of going with it. Okay, allowing them to choose their own fate. All right. So if I'm working with Mr. Carr punches. From here, I'm just going to claw his face. I'm grabbing his face here and driving him down to the ground. That's my technique. So not too pretty, but effective. Drive down to the ground. Okay. One more time. Okay, so knowing that the person's going to react to what we do, he attacks. I come in to claw him here. Whoa, he knocks my hand out of the way, and he's reacting. So, up here. Okay. So, he comes in. Yeah. So just moving from one thing to another. What's happening? He's coming in. He's reacting to this. He's throwing a strike. I'm moving with the strike. Execute my wrist lock. And you can walk him over. So let's look at how this could break down. So he comes in with a strike. I'm clawing. He doesn't like it. Punching. I'm going for my wrist lock. Oh! I can't get my wrist lock now. I can't get this. Okay? So, sliding it. Wrist lock. Oh! This is kind of bad here, isn't it? He's saying, the message he's given me a couple different messages. One way of interpreting this, he's saying, let's go this way. He wants to go in this direction. Understand? Because one could do this. I have this here, and he's pushing on me. React to this and start fighting from here, but now we're colliding, right? I'm here, he's pushing on me, so I say, okay, he wants to go this way. He wants to go that way, so I let him go that way. Understand? So he comes in. Claw. Here. Let's see. Real slow. Here. Trying to get this lock. All I'm doing is I'm pulling his arm, and I've got that arm bar across my body. Okay. From here, from the inside, claw. Ride this thing out. One more time. He throws a punch. Claw. He defeats that. He throws another punch. I'm trying to get this. He's pushing on me. I'm trying to get this one. He throws another punch. Turn into a hip throw. Okay. Claw. Whoa. Try it again. That one's not working either. So let's look at another flow. Person attacks. From here, I might want to step in and throw him right away. Okay? So here, I'm just moving in with him. He throws the punch. I'm coming in. He's leaning back. From there, I can sink onto him because he's leaning backwards to stop me from throwing him. So you just keep him going that way. So he throws his punch. Okay, let's try this angle one more time. Okay, so let's look at how this could break down. He comes in with an attack. It's not working. Bump him away from me. Boom! This could happen. Maybe I didn't get it right. He didn't fall down. He had good balance. Something. He attacks. It's not working. Get him off of me. Yeah. I want to keep this leg moving in this direction. Okay? So keep the leg moving in the direction he's going. He's saying, let's go this way, over here. And he's telling you, he's talking to you with his foot. Okay? So he punches. I come here, bumping away. He kicks. Yeah. Don't try to stop his kick. Let it happen. Get off of it. Think of it like a football player. Make a contact and rolling off the person and then keep going. He's going to punch. Here, it's not working. I'm trying to get him off me. I'm rolling him off of me. This way. Okay? Let's look. He comes in. I'm coming here, pushing away from me. Get off me. Ooh, bump his leg. Ooh, this could be bad. Okay? Elbow in the teeth. Ooh. So he comes in. It's not working. Get off. Ugh. Elbow. Boom, bam. Okay? So we're going to look at it as an opportunity to strike from here. It's not working. In here. See what you come up with. So these techniques that we've been practicing can be used in this flow dealing with an attacker's resistance. They can also be used as counters to these techniques as well. So you can flow from one technique to another to counter resistance. You can also flow from one technique to another to counter other techniques. So my partner here, Mr. Scott, I'm going to punch Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott's going to do a technique to me. So, he's doing a technique to me. Now, let's trade sides. So, as I come here, Mr. Scott, as he goes to do a technique to me, I can counter his technique by doing a technique to him. Okay? What I'm going to do, as he starts to do this, is reverse this thing and end up with the lock that he intended for me on him. So you can do what they're doing to you, would be one strategy. Here, he goes into the technique. I get low, pivot, and end up with the technique on him. That was from this orientation. Let's try opposite. Here, key to this is allowing him to tell me how to escape the technique. What he's doing, he's saying, the way out's down here. So, I go down there and end up with a technique against him. Okay? Once again, skin listening. I'm allowing him to tell me where the safe place is to go. So one strategy was to do whatever they're doing to you. So if he does another technique to me, whatever it is, I'm grabbing. He's going to crank on my wrist. And take me down the grip. So he's doing this wrist lock to me. So I'm going to grab. So one thing that I can do is do whatever he's doing to you. So you can look at the communication as, here, do this to me. We're giving you an example. Let me try the other side. As he goes, he's saying, do this. So as he goes to do that, boom, boom. Okay, just do what he does to you. Okay, you want me to do that? Fine. I'll do that to you. He does another technique to me. Signs now. Yeah. So I'll just do it to him. Okay? You can do whatever they're doing to you, just do it to them. So let him tell you how to win. Another technique. So just do what he does. Okay? So that's one strategy. Another strategy is controlling the space. I can control this space as a strategy. A tactic would be to use, he does a technique to me. A tactic would be to use striking to create space, which is opportunity and time. Another strategy or tactic to create this space would be to use positioning. I can position my body in a way that will move him away from me or move me away from him through my positioning. So here, I'm going to take a good stance. I've got this space now. This buys me time for the next, whatever it is to come in. This buys me time to get whatever technique I want on him. Okay? So I can use positioning. I can also control the space in a way that makes him weaker, so he can't execute a technique. Okay, oh, he just fell down. I didn't do anything. But I put myself in a position to where he has no strength or balance or stability. Just putting myself in the right space at the right time. Okay? So try to find opportunities to apply some of those tactics. 1, imitate him. Do what he does. Mirror what he does. 2, take a stronger position away from him. So that way you create that space. And 3, think about getting into a position that weakens him to the point where they can't even stand up. Okay? So try to find those 3. It's really important when we practice our techniques, whether it's for defense or attack or a continuous attack, flowing. When I execute my techniques, I want to make sure I do it in a way that's powerful. And it's really important to think of the difference between power and force. Okay? I don't want to be forceful with my technique. So if I have his arm, I'm not going to try to just jerk him down to the ground as hard as I can. He's going to pick up on that tension. Okay, first of all. Secondly, if I have to force it, I'm not using the right tool for the job. I'm trying to turn a bolt with a hammer. Understand? When all I really need is just a wrench. Okay? So when I execute my techniques, I want to make sure I do it in a way that I don't have to do anything. It should feel effortless. The person should feel light to me, like moving a feather, lifting a feather versus lifting a brick. Okay? So he should feel like a feather. The idea is an effortless transmission of energy. I'm going to take this energy and put it all on him. He's going to feel that moving through him. Okay? So, an example. If he grabs my wrist, and I come in to do this technique here, if I push, see how he kind of moved, but watch his body. That's me pushing as hard as I can. Another way to do this is to do it correctly. See the difference? I use 2 hands to try to push him. He's strong. I use 1 hand in just the right fashion, and it whips all the way through him. Okay? You see this? Whoa! As opposed to, ooh. So, push. Or I do it the right way. Okay? So there's a difference. That's one thing. The second is when I do my technique, if he pushed into me right now, I shouldn't be going anywhere. I shouldn't be moving. Push into me. This shouldn't happen. He pushes into me. He should feel like he's pushing into a wall. Okay? So we can check our techniques halfway through. It's a really good habit to get into. Just halfway through your technique, just stop. And say, push on me. If the person can move you, you're doing it incorrectly. Okay? So power. So the power here comes in different forms. One is knowledge. Okay? I've got to have the knowledge. I've got to know how to do the technique. Use the right tool for the job. Do it in the right way. Okay? At the right time. Okay? It's when and what. I'm doing it appropriately. The second thing is experience. I've got to have these experiences. I've got to have it break down in training. That's how I'll learn. If my uke is totally 100% cooperative all the time, then I'm not going to get an opportunity to see check it. Am I doing it correctly or not? So give them opportunities to test you. Okay, test your stability, test your positioning, test the technique against some sort of resistance to see if you're doing it correctly or not. So be sure to add all that in. So it's a genuine power, not an artificial power. It's a genuine sense of confidence as opposed to an artificial confidence, a false confidence. Okay? Be sure to give that a try. So let's go back to some of the basic techniques. Stop about halfway and have them push on you and see if you're in the right position or not. Okay? So now we know I got to perform the technique correctly. Really, really important. When we move, you have to move correctly too. So you have a technique, you're applying it correctly, using the right tool, but make sure you're moving it in the right way. Don't forget to move from your center. Okay? If you're wearing a uniform and you have a belt on, move from your belt knot. Okay? Don't move from your head. So back to that grab again. If I'm trying to do this arm bar, I don't want to lean in and try to do it with my arms. Okay? When I move in, I want to move in from here. So, I have to get closer to him. I'm not going to do this to try to inch my way closer. Okay? Instead, move your belt closer. Okay? Understand? How do I get this belt closer to his belt? Oh, that's good. It's a good result. Understand? As opposed to the difference between the two? Just moving my belt in. I haven't even really done the technique yet. Okay? So really get that belt moving. All right? Next thing to do is we're going to practice. I'm going to get a really good technique on him. Push against me. He pushes. I'm not going anywhere. At this point, I want to abandon this technique so he can punch or whatever and go into another technique. Understand? So he pushes into me. Good. He pushes again. Whoa. What can I get from here? Oh, there's a technique. Understand? Now, go ahead and do that exercise, and then we're going to build on this exercise. Okay? Push. He's pushing against you. You're in a solid position. You got a good technique. Abandon the technique when they're pushing, so they come at you, and then do another technique. Okay? So, we have this exercise now. I'm going to get into my arm bar. He's going to test me to make sure it's okay. All right. I'm going to let it go and flow into another technique. Now, we're going to break these techniques, like we've done in this series, into 5 different categories. Okay? And your task is going to be to come up with the response from each of those categories for this technique. So he grabs, I come in here. The first category is striking. Okay? So he resists me. I'm in a good stance. He resists again. Boom. What striking techniques can I come up with from here as a response to his resistance? All right? So play with it. See what you come up with. Okay? Maybe just some examples. He resists. He resists again. Maybe. Damn. I'm thinking about striking him as I'm doing my techniques. Okay? Okay. So now we're back to this example again. I'm stepping in. I'm getting my technique. He's pushing. I got a good stance, good positioning. He's not affecting me at all. It's really important to know that the only thing I really can control is myself. I can't force this person down to the ground. I can't make them stop fighting me. I can't do anything. The only thing I can do is discourage him, make it so it's discouraging, so he doesn't want to fight me anymore. Try to influence him that way. I can affect his physical balance and his mental balance to really take him off of his game and make it really difficult for them to be strong or effective against you. But ultimately, all I really can control is myself. So these are exercises that are really for you to internalize this martial art so that way you're doing the right stuff to the best that you can. That's all you can do is do your best. So give it your all when you're practicing. Make sure you're really crisp and in the right place and doing the techniques correctly, not kind of blowing off your practice or take it half-heartedly. Take it seriously. When he pushes, this time we're going to let him come up, same scenario, except this time we're going to execute a wrist lock. That's another category. So we did striking response. Now we're going to do a wrist lock response. So what wrist locks can you come up with from here? Okay? The answer is all of them. That's the answer. But you need to experience that and make it so it's one of the tools in your tool belt. Okay? So that way you can come up with all those wrist locks. So then you can determine which one you want and then why. I might want to take him that way. Maybe there's another attacker coming. And if the other attacker comes from this side over here, then me taking him in this direction really doesn't make much sense. Does it? No. He comes in with that punch. Me taking him in this direction makes a whole lot of sense. Okay? So I mean, you choose which wrist lock to take. So I'm here. His buddy's coming. He's coming with the punch. Yeah. Ooh. It might be better to do one of those. Okay? So make sure you're choosing the right one. Now, how do I choose the right one? Well, first of all, you've got to have the ability to choose the right one. So you have to do these types of exercises so you have developed those skills that you can flow from one technique to another and then be able to choose which technique. So you can do any technique from any position. Okay? Then you have the ability to choose appropriately with some practice and experience. Okay? So go ahead and do this exercise. Go ahead and do that exercise again, but this time it's a wrist lock response to that punch and push. Okay? Go ahead and give that a try. Thank you. Okay, so we've looked at striking as a method to defend against this resistance. We've looked at wrist locks as a method to defend against this resistance. Let's look at the next category, which would be arm bars and knee bars. So I've got him bent over in an arm bar. He tries to stand up, checks my position. He tries to stand up again. He punches. There's an arm bar against his resistance. Maybe, just maybe, he resists. He comes back in. Maybe I bar his knee to take him down. Okay? So you decide. See what you come up with. Arm bars and knee bars. Try to be creative. Play with the timing. Do I do it at the same time as he's punching? Do I do it before he punches? Do I do it after he punches? Okay? Do I do a combination? All right? So see what you come up with. Arm bars and knee bars response to this resistance. Okay? So we had a striking response. We had a wrist lock response. We had an arm bar or a knee bar response. Another category in this series is shoulder locks or hip attacks. Shoulder locks and hip attacks. So same technique. For the sake of making a good example, check my stance, make sure it's good. He's not moving me. Okay. He comes back. Get that shoulder lock. Ooh. Take him down. Let's try it again. Come in, checks my balance, he comes back again. So all I'm doing, when he comes back, I'm making sure he doesn't hit me with this hand. I'm doing that scoop. Okay? Or here, checking my stance, good. He comes back in. There's that hip check that we were practicing the other day. Down. Comes back. Whoa. There's that hip check. Okay? So, hip attacks, shoulder attacks. Give it a try. So, from this one position, when he resists, we've practiced punches. We've practiced wrist locks. We've practiced arm bars and knee bars. We've practiced shoulder locks and hip attacks. Last category of the series that we want to make sure that you practice is the throwing category. So from here, he checks my stance. My stance is good. He comes back at me. Go ahead and throw him. Okay? Take him over you. One more time. Check my stance. He comes back. Whoa. Go ahead and toss him. All right. Last piece here. We've got punching defenses, wrist lock defenses, arm bars and hip attacks. Arm bars and knee bars, shoulder locks and hip attacks, and throws are the 5 categories that we're putting together here in this series as our core basics. When we practice this way, if we use this training method where I'm checking my stance, okay, he comes back up, I let him do what he's going to do. Boom, I punch. I throw an elbow lock. He comes back up. Now it's a throw. You know, you can mix and match them. You don't have to do them in that order, and you can do a combination of them. Throw strikes in there. Throw throws in there. Throw a wrist lock in there. I want to strike and then get a wrist lock. I want to strike and then get a throw. I want to strike and then get a shoulder lock of some sort. I want to strike and get a hip attack of some sort. I want to strike and get a knee bar. I want to strike and get an arm bar. Okay? So you start to choose techniques. If you're really creative, you'll make a matrix of some sort. You write down all the techniques this way, and you write all the techniques this way, and then you just mix and match them. Go down and fill in every little square. Wrist lock into a shoulder lock. Make sure I practice that combination. Arm bar into a knee bar. Arm bar to arm bar. Arm bar into wrist lock. Arm bar into shoulder lock. Arm bar into throw. So on and so forth. Okay? So you can methodically go through and train on all these aspects. Okay? This series is not intended to replace training at a qualified Jizaikan school with a qualified Jizaikan teacher. Okay? To quote Mr. Eichenberg, these are the mechanics of basic techniques, and these are the bricks that you build a foundation with. You got to train with a qualified teacher to get the mortar. So all the secrets that we put in here into our curriculum, and all the tactics, and all the strategies and philosophies, and then the Kuden oral transmission that you can only get from a Jizaikan instructor. So definitely don't view this series as a replacement of training with a teacher. Okay.